Friday, Angelo.
Yeah,
I don't know whether you're as happy as I am,
Well, the happiness is half shared here because a whole lot awaits me, when weekends like this come. But at the same time, so long there is life,
it is well, and it's all for good.
Exactly.
All right. Thank you so much for always joining us on Good Morning Anambra Show. My name is Nonye Nwokoye.
And I'm Ajuluchuku Okabue.
All right, we begin the show with a press review.
I want to begin with news making rounds on ABS website. And the first news we have for you on ABS website is talking about Onitsha Business Hangout. Entrepreneurs, innovators, young professionals brainstorm on sustainable business strategies. SUBEP, UBEC Intervention Sports Competitions, Oka Educational Zone emerges overall winner. CVR, Ohaneze Ndibo worldwide urges eligible voters to participate. And we have Anambra governorship election. TAF Africa holds stakeholders engagement meeting in Oka. ICPC calls for tougher legislative measures to strengthen revenue generation. And on the foreign scene, Gaza, Israeli strike kills at least 15 Palestinians.
All right, we quickly take a look at this issue of CVR, that's a continuous voter registration, because that's the in thing now. And as God may have it, I was very close to one center on Monday, the Monday that it started. Unfortunately, rain had to disrupt some of the activities. So many people came for the registration, but they were having issues with network. Okay. Now, before that time, I think it was on Tuesday that it started, because we talked about it here on Monday, encouraging people to go out and register. Yes. Now, during that discussion, I remembered vividly we talked about, the youth leader, trying to let them try to see that things work out fine, so that people will be encouraged to go and register the more. But now, that first day, there were lots and lots of disruptions. We give it to the rain. But subsequently, I think it should be important to ensure that it becomes hitch-free. Even there are so many other politicians that went around. I think Commissioner Nkemdi Bazo also went round to check people and see how the registration is going on. This is very, very important for Anambra, especially as the election is coming up on November 8th. Yeah,
it's very, very important. There need to be enough sensitization, just like we are carrying out here in ABS, so that people get to understand the power they wield with their voters card. Bad governance, like we always complain about, can end or be brought to the barest minimum if we engage in exercising our franchise. So it's very, very important.
All right, a message for the people that, seem to have given up on Nigeria, and they are saying we don't need a continuous voter registration card, we don't need the card, we don't want to vote again. Nigeria shall be great again. I believe that.
Of course.
The scripture says that when a crop will fall and die before it will sprout again to yield more fruits. So if that doesn't happen, the crop doesn't really yield any fruit. Take, for instance, when you put the corn on the ground, the corn decays and sprouts before it can, produce any crop. Yeah. Now, Nigeria is at that, I think is at that level.
Transformation stage.
Yes, at that level. So let's have hope, because it's our nation. We don't have any other country to call our own. Yeah. Whether you like it or not, if you go to America, one day, you will return to Nigeria. So let's be positive about this thing and do what we ought to do, so that God will perfect the one that is due him.
Well, still talking about Nigeria being great in the newspaper, in the news making rounds on ABS website. We are seeing ICPC calls for tougher measures to strengthen revenue generation. Well, an economy cannot grow when there are leakages in revenue generation. And that is why some of these Western countries or the Asian tigers seem to be doing marvelously well, because they have perfected a system whereby they, blocked the loopholes where individuals profit from revenue that should ordinarily come to the government. So
we talked about that very much yesterday. When we tried to, when Tibo was here, we talked about, people being selfless. Because when you talk about leakages, it's virtually everywhere.
Everywhere.
Virtually everywhere. So what do we do? If we really love this nation and we want this nation to prosper, we must do a lot of sacrifices to see that happen. Otherwise, we'll remain where we are.
Exactly. Well, we are going to not be remaining where we are, because next we'll be reviewing the dailies, the national dailies, and we'll be starting with the Daily Times. Now, you take it off.
The Daily Times, the banner headline is screaming, killing of 2-year-old. Senate urges Tinubu to pay 200 million naira compensation. All right, other stories. The Plateau killing. Governor Muftawan inaugurates 150 agro rangers. 210 street beggars arrested in FCT over criminal activities. Audit report. Senate insists Ojulari must clarify unaccounted 210 trillion naira by NNPCL. Senator Akpoti Oduara stripped of committee chairmanship position. A Supreme Court verdict, blow to justice, democracy, Irodala speaking. FG to close job gap, audit skills centers nationwide. That's coming from Shetima. And financial fraud jumps 45%. Digital platforms account for 70% of losses. That's report coming from the Central Bank of Nigeria. We take a look at the point before we talk. Buhari government went after my allies post-2015 election. That's coming from Jonathan. NNPC refineries may never work again. That's coming from Dangote. Corrupt politicians using crypto wallets to launder money. Coming from EFCC chairman. Nigeria rejected U.S. push to accept Venezuelan deportees. Coming from Tuga. Autonomy stand-off. Governors get 4.5 trillion naira LG funds 1 year after Supreme Court ruling. LG is yet to open CBN accounts. Labour blames governors, AGF for delay. Fallon Sons accused governors, federal government. And GTCO plans to fresh expansion after London Stock Exchange listing. 3-year-old boy dies inside Lagos Sokaway. LG poll, ballot snatching will trigger by-elections, LASIK wants. Igodele angry as Tinubu governors praise Okpebolo's court victory. All right, these are some of the stories we are looking at this morning.
All right, two stories in Punch newspaper of great interest to me, and I think it's worthy of mentioning here. The first being the NNPC refineries may never work again. Coming from Dangote, sincerely speaking, we were just talking about corruption not too long ago, talking about ICPC plugging holes as in ways where we can make more money. And now you're seeing the mainstay of Nigerian economy. 4 refineries built by the federal government, none is working. And the one built by an individual is even being stifled to actually even provide succor to Nigeria. You understand? So sometimes you begin to wonder, what is actually really happening in this country? How can Dangote come up and tell us that the Nigerian...
It's very short.
As in, he didn't even... He said may never work again. You understand? So the question is, where is this statement coming from? Is he going to buy off Nigerian refinery and now be heading towards being the richest man in the world? Yeah, because if you control one of the biggest exporter of crude in the world, you understand, definitely you're inching towards being the richest man in the world. And then second story, still on the Punch, Buhari government went after my allies post-2025 election. Jonathan has been talking recently, as in, he has been saying a whole lot. A lot that he should have said 2025, I mean 2015. He didn't say. 2014, you didn't say. But how many years after? You're now giving us revelation as to what happened in your government.
Who knows
is
what,
he,
who
is
knows
he,
what
is he
is
planning?
cooking?
Is he planning
Who
on?
knows what is cooking?
Is he planning on coming out for 2027 presidential election? Then we need to actually know what that this statement, or else he would help himself diminish his status as an elder statesman with all these statements that he's making. Because to me, rather than build on the credibility of living office, saying that no Nigerian blood is worth your stay in government, you understand? Leave it at that. We all know the whole mess that your administration was clocked under, but you weren't man enough to act when you ought to have acted.
To stand up to
So now you're coming out to tell us this and this and this and that. We've not even heard anything from Buhari that since he left office. But you are here talking much and much.
I look at what EFCC chairman is saying. One thing is our leaders coming out to say something, or those in positions of authority. And another thing is, seeing to the end of that. Now, you said that corrupt politicians are using crypto wallets to launder money. I hope he's making every effort to apprehend those involved. And I hope the reporter that brought this story to the Punch will be kind enough to go back to get, not really names, how they concluded the issue. Because we've seen this now. The next time, you won't hear any other thing about it. Because this calls for investigation, then bringing those involved to book, eventually maybe to serve as deterrent to others that may want to do such things, which don't normally happen in Nigeria. Punishing our leaders. We've never seen anybody punished, except maybe you're not in good terms with them. So I believe that the EFCC chairman and his workers will go to work, do the needful, do the investigation they need to do, and bring those involved to book.
All right. Any story of interest on the Daily Times? That banner headline is, I really don't understand. 200 million compensation. Tinubu is urging the Senate to pay for the killing of a 2-year-old. Was that a mistake? Was it meant to be 2 million or 2?
I think there's the questions that comes behind this should be, who is this 2-year-old? Because a lot of people are being killed in Nigeria. Then under what circumstances was this 2-year-old killed?
And how did the death of this 2-year-old get to the attention of the president?
And payment of 200 million compensation. In Nigeria, we've had stories of people that were killed, even the Chibok girls. I don't know how much compensation were given to their families. Dapchi girls too. I don't know how much were given to each family that lost their loved ones in all those attacks. So the question here is, who is this 2-year girl, 2-year-old, and under what circumstance was he or she killed? That's the question that should come, so that we know how this 200 million naira compensation is coming from the Senate, or the Senate that said it.
Well, that's interesting. We just brought you the headline, so you can go there, pick up these papers and read and find the in-depth stories. Get to empower yourself with more info. And now, up next for review this morning is the Guardian newspaper. And then we have elderly career, emerging boom in home services, costly substitute for ailing hospitals. And that's the banner headline on the Guardian newspaper. And then we can see at the mast, we have INEC deploys online party registration portal as applications hit 129. That you can find on page 3 of the Guardian newspaper. Federal government shrugs off U.S. pressure to accept foreign prisoners, deportees. Wow. 210 trillion naira probe. Senate berate NNPCL boss for defiance issues ultimatum. And then we have local government, Lagos local government polls, APC, opposition parties bicker over exercise. Ighodalo accepts Supreme Court verdict, decries robbery, betrayal of Edo people's trust. ADC coalition faces uphill tax to unseat Tinubu, says presidency. State presidency. That's coming from Bode George. And then we have here security operatives killed, others missing in fresh Benue attack. ECOWAS court rejects bid to overturn $10,000 judgment against Nigeria. Quickly, let's see what we have for you on the next paper. That's the Daily Trust newspaper. Local government funds. After 1 year, nothing has changed. And then we have that as the banner headline with riders saying, councils received 3.408 trillion naira through state government in 11 months. Breakdown of FAC allocations totaling 3.408 trillion to 774 local government areas through states over 11 months. Then we have military airstrikes kill many terrorists in Zamfara and Kebbi State. Amid high electricity costs, varsities, health facilities yet to get subsidy. Shetima visits Buhari in London. Wow. How Adokis stopped Jonathan from removing me as governor. Shetima. We all have stories to say. Bandits abduct palace administrators, burn houses in Plateau community. Senate removes Natasha as diaspora committee chair. FCTA arrests 210 beggars in Abuja.
Okay, these local government funds, you know, we've seen it in virtually all the papers we've read. And, you know, after 1 year, nothing has changed. Council receives whooping sum of 3.408 trillion naira state governments in 11 through state governments in 11 months. And we know the state of local government areas, you know, for some time now in Nigeria. And I wonder how this money, you know, is being disposed, how it is being utilized for the good of the common man that it is meant for.
Well, I think at that point where this local government autonomy was being, you know, championed, when it came up, a whole lot of pundit, analysts, economists, they all had their fears. Because to me, according to what most of them would say, that the status, the emperor status most state governors have assumed, it will be so difficult to get them to release such funds in order for, you know, the dividends of democracy to trickle down
to the grassroots.
So because this is what they've been used to for over 2 decades. So now coming out to now tell them that relinquish, others that enjoyed it will now be wondering, no local government elections in most states until the Supreme Court came, and then we saw what was horribly and haphazardly done. So people kept their what is it called, their cronies back as transition committee, and you know, so the whole thing is there's no transparency in it. And so now local government will continue to suffer until there's a stiffer penalties on state government in order to do this. If not,
or even direct disbursements.
Or direct disbursements. You understand? So these are the areas where we begin to question. When you see that things are not working in this part of the world, what stops us from looking for alternative measures in order for it to work? Because sincerely speaking,
doing it in a different way
when election comes, the grassroots is where most of these politicians run to gather votes. Because sincerely speaking, the grassroots, hardly can you dissuade them from who their candidates are. It's all those people that are in the urban areas, metropolitan areas, those are the people that you can easily sway. They are more educated and they are easily swayed. But that person in the village, in that rural community, you understand? And the government will not work. The state governors won't even see that this is even their own sure bet into coming into, you understand, governance or power.
And it's even it is going to go a long way when the local governments are given the power to perform. It will ease the burden of the state government.
You will see some local governments doing better
than the state. All right, look at this issue of INEC deploying online party registration portal as applications hit 129. If actually if INEC, that story is on the Guardian newspaper, if INEC could do this, deploying online party registration, what stops INEC from deploying online CVR, online voting? The world has become a global village, it's a digitized world. In Sena country, it did not start today. So if we start our own today,
It is not a case of starting it today, sincerely speaking. Nigerians, for the best of my knowledge, we have a greater percentage of honest people in this country. We have it, sincerely speaking. That's why in some data compilation, they said Nigeria was ranked, I think, amongst the first 5th hospitable people. Not hospitable place, hospitable people. Now, talking about being honest, you understand, in the way we do things, apart from the political people that have come to corrupt us. What I'm trying to say in essence is that if you tell Nigerians that this is the system to follow, Nigerians will gladly toe that line and follow that system. INEC would definitely not tell you that they want to go online. Because if they go online, how then would 500 billion be coming to them every election year? Because going digital will reduce cost.
It still boils down to what we are saying.
That's the political
transparency, accountability,
you won't need ballots,
people being selfless.
Ballot papers. You won't need a whole lot. You won't need recruiting ad hoc staffs to come and work, coalition and the rest of it all. You will probably make it 70-30. 70-30 in the sense that if you want to, maybe you don't have an Android phone, probably you don't have the tech to go about it, then you can go and queue. But you will discover that most people will sit in the comfort of their place, their homes, their offices, and then vote. And then you see everything. Now you're telling us you want to deploy online. The IREV you promised us for last election, we didn't see it. You told us about the glitch. So what is the possibility that we will have a glitch?
I don't know whether you've heard about NIS, filling forms online for your international passport. At the end of the day, you take the form to the office. They will start afresh.
As I speak with you,
they will start afresh. Nigeria, I think we have a long way to go, but God will help us. But because everybody is crying, leadership, in your own little corner, why can't you do the right thing for things to work?
My NIN, I wanted to go and collect my NIN. All this what I did NIN, all that time they were saying it. So now I wanted to go and collect the card before going for this sports festival that I went. You won't believe that what I found in the system is different from what I even gave. My age was reduced by 20 years. And I was asking, can I be somebody that is born in the 90s, as it is stated here? So I was asking the lady that printed it, I said, okay, this is what is in the system. And I went to their office. The story. Do you know that somebody was telling me that I should bring 400,000 naira to come and correct that? That is over 20 years mistake. 400,000 naira. How much? That is for me, a citizen of Nigeria, to make a correction on a NIN that was made at the office.
Mistake they made.
Somebody is telling me to come and pay 400,000 for NIN.
Nigeria, God will help us. But citizens, we need to do what we ought to do. In any place you find yourself, for crying out loud, I don't see what it will take you doing the right thing. Because you have no moral right to question the state governor or local government chairman or the president when they do wrong. When you are in your own little office, is doing worse things. All right, quickly, we'll take a look at the last paper before we begin to wrap up.
The Nigerian Tribune is up next for review. How Adoke orders stopped Jonathan from removing me as governor. That's coming from Shetima. Ex-AGF was haunted globally over $1.3 billion OPL, 245 Sega. Jonathan, I have forgiven everyone behind my ordeal. Adoke. UBN announces strategic expansion into markets across Africa. That you find on the mast of the the Nigerian Tribune. Arewa Economic Forum warns against CBN's new BDC recapitalization, with the rider there saying, city cites threat to northern economy, national security, seek extension of policy. I think we'll come back and talk about this. Nigeria won't bow to U.S. pressure to accept Venezuelan deportees when we have our own issues here. Okay, let's see. Still on the Nigerian Tribune, Supreme Court affirms Okpebholo as Edo governor. And then we have still there, we've seen this, Natasha, NNPCL must account for 210 trillion naira, Senate insists. Flood may unleash toxic chemical, poses risk to elderly ecosystem, UN wants. And that's the much we have on the front page of the Nigerian Tribune.
All right, this trending story of Shetima saying how Adoke others stopped Jonathan from removing him as governor. I wonder whether our constitution have changed from 2015 to 2025 when the governor of Rivers State is removed from office.
I think what
because I just had to read some lines behind that banner headline. It says that Tambuwal told Jonathan that you don't have the right to remove even the local government chairman. It's a councillor of a local government. That's what he said here. You know, and other people that came to speak against it, and it never happened. Now we have changed our constitution that a sitting governor was removed. It
wasn't changed. It's just this. It wasn't changed. It's just telling you the respect an individual has over, will I say, respected authority. That's just it. When this thing is an authority, it depends on how you attack it, from what view that you see it, and how you choose to respect and go alongside it. Then some other person will just blatantly, you understand, say, whatever happens, I don't think I need to, because I am the chief, the commander-in-chief. I have the power to do and undo. So it's a case of two different people. The same law applies. The constitution was not changed. You understand? It's just that some other person chose to go the way of the constitution. The other person chose to go the way of his own decision. But talking about that,
and what does that say about Nigeria?
You swore an oath. You swore an oath to obey the constitution, which is what guides everything that we do here. And the moment you go against it, you're automatically insane climbs. You understand? If you go against the constitution, it's going against the entire country. You don't even need. Just
likening our country to a man that went to buy maybe a plasma television, and they gave you manual with which to operate the television. You dropped the manual and decided to do whatever you want with the television. At the end of the day, whatever you see is what you take. I think
they will tell you that warranty covers.
That is exactly what is happening to this nation.
They will tell you that there's a warranty that covers it. Now, talking about this Arewa Economic Forum warns against CBN's new BDC recapitalization. That's Bureau de Change. We're talking about this. And then there are things that I don't actually like when I see on the front pages of Nigeria, and it doesn't speak well. You understand? Cite threat to northern economy. Cite threat to northern. We should be talking about Nigerian economy.
As a nation.
Why would people just segregate and then choose to have a different economy in the? These are the things that you begin to wonder: are we a country, or are we, you understand, different enclaves?
So they are warning the CBN.
So now, are you telling CBN that CBN can no longer regulate what it is that you guys do?
They are warning the CBN for their own people and not for the entire nation. They've not even done research to see the effect it's going to have on the nation as nation Nigeria. It is their own. So you see, I don't know actually how to go
about you talk about headsmen and ranching and the rest of, they will attack you. And they say, this is, now you're talking about, because everywhere you go, most people that do BDC, believe the change, they are all the northerners. So this statement like this is not naturalistic. What we need is something that should, Nigeria is not doing well economically. We are not talking about the Western economy, Eastern economy, or Northern economy. The economy of the country.
Nigeria.
Exactly, is nosediving. And some people are singling out themselves and saying, whatever the CBN is doing about BDC recapitalization will affect the economy of the North. Come on. We should be talking about, Nigeria. Except probably you guys want to be elsewhere. That's how they say the Ariwa Economic Forum. Do we have Ohanese Economic Forum?
I don't know. Actually, look at, I'm just thinking, let it not be that Venezuelans are already in Nigeria and these people are shouting.
If they are, we will know.
You will know, how would you know?
Where would they meet?
To accept Venezuelan deportees. Let them go to their country now.
No, there's Venezuela and Nigeria, they are almost at par. We are just like,
at par.
Based on the economic crumbling. Based on the you understand, the sanctions and then the policies of the government there. That is what happens when you mismanage, when you misbungle the national resource that your country has, God has blessed you with.
That's the much you're taking on the press review for this morning. We'd like to thank you so much for being a part of it. You can pick the papers, you can go online, you can go to paper stands around to read and get detailed information of some of the stories that were trended this morning. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Nonya Nwokoye.
And I'm Ajulu Chukwuka. We don't go anywhere because up next is the discussion segment on Good Morning Anambra.